In a daring escape on July 4, 2017, Jimmy Causey, a convicted kidnapper serving a life sentence, outwitted the security at South Carolina's maximum security Lieber Correctional Institution. Armed with a cell phone and wire cutters, Causey turned captivity into independence, slipping through the razor wire fence. The staff, deceived by a makeshift dummy Causey left behind, didn't notice he was missing until nearly 18 hours later. By then, he had cut through 4 fences and was long gone. With the help of a drone flying in the tools and multiple cell phones to coordinate his escape, Causey managed to flee across state lines. When Texas Rangers apprehended him days later at a motel near Austin, Causey was heavily armed with a semi-automatic pistol, a pump-action shotgun, 4 cell phones, and nearly $50,000 in cash. This escape wasn't an isolated incident at Lieber. In 2016 alone, more than 550 cell phones were confiscated from inmates, highlighting the persistent security breaches plaguing South Carolina's prisons. The town of Ridgeville, where Lieber is located, was on edge during the manhunt, fearing what a dangerous man like Causey might do on the run. Fortunately, his capture marked the end of a high-profile manhunt, but it left lingering questions about vulnerabilities of Lieber security and the systemic issues within the prison. Welcome back to Chasing Crime. Today, we'll look at one of the most dangerous prisons in South Carolina, Lieber Correctional Institution. Often overshadowed by Lee Correctional Institution, is this prison the most dangerous in South Carolina? Lieber Correctional Institution is located in Ridgeville, South Carolina, a small, rural town in Dorchester County. Nestled approximately 30 miles northwest of Charleston, the prison is surrounded by expansive farmland, forests, and a relatively quiet, undeveloped landscape. This remote setting is characteristic of many correctional facilities in South Carolina, where rural areas are often chosen for their isolation and distance from major urban centers. The area around Ridgeville is part of the state's Low Country region, known for its flat terrain, wetlands, and subtropical climate. Lieber Correctional Institution opened in 1986 as a maximum security facility. It was constructed to address the growing need for secure housing for the state's most dangerous and violent offenders. The prison has a capacity to hold approximately 1,400 inmates, including those serving life sentences. Spanning a large area, the facility is fortified with multiple layers of security, including miles of razor wire fencing, electronic surveillance systems, and armed guard towers. Lieber also operates a special management unit, which is designated for particularly high-risk inmates who require additional supervision and security. The institution employs over 300 correctional officers and administrative staff, tasked with maintaining security and daily operations. Lieber is one of the largest and most critical maximum security prisons in South Carolina. As part of the South Carolina Department of Corrections, Lieber contributes to managing the state's inmate population, which exceeds 20,000 across various facilities. Lieber Correctional Institution housed South Carolina's death row inmates from 1997 until 2019. During this time, it was the primary facility for inmates sentenced to death, holding some of the state's most notorious offenders. Inmates on death row were kept in a highly secure, isolated unit under strict supervision. In 2019, death row was relocated as part of an effort to centralize death row operations and enhance overall management. Unfortunately, prison violence at this facility is a common occurrence. In 2018, William Strickland IV, an inmate at Lieber Correctional Institution, filed a lawsuit against the South Carolina Department of Corrections after being violently attacked by his cellmate. Strickland, who is serving a 35-year sentence for burglary, claims he was stabbed 24 times in the head, back, and arms during an altercation. He alleged that the attack occurred due to inadequate staffing, with only one officer present to cover the entire dorm. According to the lawsuit, Strickland was stabbed twice, first by his cellmate and again hours later after a nurse and captain had left the scene. He claims that despite his severe injuries, he was not seen by a doctor until May 3rd, more than a week after the initial incident, leading to permanent physical and psychological trauma, including scarring, pain, paranoia, and nightmares. In response to the lawsuit, the South Carolina Department of Corrections denied Strickland's claims of insufficient staffing and suggested that Strickland bears some responsibility for the incident. Staff are also at risk at this maximum security prison. In 2021, an inmate at Lieber Correctional Institution, Damian Rivers, was charged with attempted murder and other offenses following a violent confrontation with a correctional officer. The incident occurred when the officer attempted to confiscate a contraband cell phone from Rivers. During the altercation, Rivers allegedly threatened to kill the officer, spat in his face, and attempted to stab him with a shank or a makeshift weapon. Rivers, age 35, was already serving a 19-year sentence for voluntary manslaughter and firearms possession. The additional charges he now faces include attempted murder, threatening the life of a public official, possession of a weapon during a violent crime, possession of a weapon by an inmate, and throwing bodily fluids. This incident highlights ongoing issues with contraband and inmate violence within Lieber Correctional Institution. What about notable inmates? There are a few here that should never re-enter society. In 2022, Raymond Moody, a 62-year-old man, was sentenced to life in prison for the 2009 kidnapping, assault, and murder of Brittany Drexel, a 17-year-old from Rochester, New York, who disappeared while on a spring break trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. For many years, Moody was a person of interest in the case, but advancements in cell phone tracking technology and surveillance footage eventually helped investigators connect him to the crime. Moody confessed to abducting and harming Drexel before tragically ending her life. He later led authorities to her remains in Georgetown County. During his sentencing, Drexel's family expressed their deep sadness and shared the lasting impact of their loss. Moody was sentenced to life in prison, bringing a sense of closure to a case that had remained unsolved for over a decade. Nathaniel Rowland is also serving a life sentence at Lieber Correctional Institution after being convicted in 2021 for the murder of University of South Carolina student Samantha Josephson. In March 2019, Josephson mistakenly entered Rowland's car, believing it to be her Uber after a night out in Columbia's Five Points district. Rowland activated the child-proof locks, trapping Josephson inside. Her body was found days later in a remote area of Clarendon County, having suffered 120 stab wounds. Rowland was later arrested after a traffic stop, during which police found evidence linking him to the crime, including bloodstains, Josephson's phone, and cleaning supplies in his vehicle. In court, Rowland was found guilty of kidnapping, murder, and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. He won't be going anywhere anytime soon. These are just two of the violent offenders being held at Lieber. Lieber Correctional Institution, with its long history of housing some of South Carolina's most dangerous offenders, stands as a stark reminder of the challenges that come with managing a maximum security prison. As long as prisons like Lieber exist, their stories will continue to raise questions about prison safety, the potential for rehabilitation, and the ability of correctional institutions to keep both inmates and staff safe. What lies ahead for Lieber? Only time will tell, but for now, it remains a fortress housing those society has deemed too dangerous to walk free. Thanks for watching Chasing Crime. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Stay safe.